Good morning. Just about 20 minutes after 9 on Wednesday, the 10th of April, 2019, and reminding traders to use risk capital that you can afford to lose if you're playing this game. It's a risky business. It's a good business, but you got to learn the rules, and then you have to learn the discipline, and then you have to obviously learn how to execute. And when you're wrong, take your stop outs and say, okay, can't be any ego involved in this game. If you've got that big ego where it's hard for you to walk through a doorway because your head is so big, you're going to find this is a tough business that will give you some humility before you are done. That's one of the reasons I don't argue on Twitter and I don't argue with people, and just try to stay as neutral minded as you can and try to see where is the truth. So this was something that I had posted, and this is obviously the weekly. It's a 3-day range. I had said last night before I went to bed, and I do appreciate those comments, guys. Yes, I do work hard, and yes, I do believe that's what keeps me young. I like the idea of being able to keep my head in the game and not just go out to pasture and go play bingo every night or dominoes or whatever it is old people do, shuffleboard. But I like to use my body. I still use my body, go out and take my walks and do my swims. And I think that's part of staying young too. All right, in terms of today's trading, if you've already taken a shot, we had suggested early that this was the breakout. I gave you this picture. Here's one. This is at the end of the day yesterday. Then we hold overnight. We had said, let's use 72 support. And then we've moved things up overnight through here. This is your double right in here, and this would be the third time through. So realistically, if you want, this is probably right about there, but that's your double. And then this is your third time through when we break that line. So that's what I was wondering, could we get, and that's why I said, let's use 83 support. You paid by 83, because I'm looking at this box and I'm saying, okay, for now we've got to have that 92 to, this 92 and a quarter has never been broken. So I said that's still intact. So that's still our resistance. We knew that we had a target overnight, try to get to 91 if we could. That was posted and the reasons why. And so this is really the convenient trade, coming back in and trying to understand this breakdown and this low, and let's trade this range. So from a risk reward standpoint, better odds was probably to come backwards, although you can't guarantee you're going to get the gap and you're going to close things, from yesterday. But the trade works for anybody that has a trailer. I had suggested make sure you were paid in that 86 to 87 area, and a good fortune part's really, in my opinion, below that. I've got the gap at that 82.75, so not quite closed, but certainly you want that last point, and the risk reward comes back the other way. So we've got to use this 88.75, 89 area, and pretty much as a flipper. But there are a couple of them today, and obviously later we can get any kind of thing. CPI is nothing compared to perhaps 2 o'clock-ish. So to answer your question about how this helps squeeze pivots, well, this is our squeeze pivot right here, and below this area, the next area of support, probably this doji right here at 82. And I'm thinking of yesterday's low and the overnight low as squeeze pivots. So you don't want to overstay this move. We've gone from low to high, so theoretically pullbacks can be bought. So Sean, addressing your question about squeeze pivots. And clearly this has been the resistance area. I said, let's use this as our resistance. Make sure you're paid by 83, right? So you're back here in that opening rotation. 93 back here is going to be resistance. And let's play this as our mid zone. So that's about as simply as I can put it. And the more I elaborate, the more I do you a disservice. This is just intuition and looking at patterns and charts and saying, okay, and if you don't take the trade, that's no big deal. If you take it the wrong way, that's no big deal. Just take your stop. That's trading. You're going to, closer to the gap down here, the better the odds. If it comes through here, then we know they're coming down to test the angel. Take a look at a couple other charts. Angels and demons. 89.5 is our demon.
I see.
Go ahead, Sean.
What you're saying.
Sean, go ahead.
No, I was unmuted. I didn't mean to do that, actually.
So no problem.
I'll just quickly say it, though. I was going to type it in. I just need to keep reviewing squeeze pivots so that I can, in every direction, and just keep talking about it so that I can get it to sink in and understand it.
Well, you're also going to find that there are certain charts that things will jump out a little bit easier at you. And for example, here's one of them right in here. Look at this type of idea right in here. So someplace in here, this looks to me like that 3-point breakout, right? And without all the spaghetti lines and whatever, it's sometimes easier to see that. So I'm looking back here at the end of the day yesterday where that 84 had capped it, and it stops and comes back last night, and then we get the push overnight and we come up. So this has got to be an important area, especially this bar right here, this indecision bar. So currently, my belief is we've got 2 day ahead of the news. You're only as good as your last call, right? So everybody wants to know, what's next? What's next? But truthfully, if you've already played the convenient trade, come back towards the gap, and you got some, especially on this gap up, if you play down and got your 2, 3, 4 points, you've already got in your pocket what you hoped for. You obviously want more, but already you're ahead of the game if you played, back in towards the middle instead of playing for a breakout early.
Well, I wasn't in that early. I was still kind of looking at things and getting myself going, but here's where I started this morning. I was looking for another place to probably get long because and I did some markups on my chart just like you did here.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to figure out how far that was going to come down, and I was using the squeeze pivots in order to determine how far the sellers could take this again. And it didn't look that strong, to tell you the truth, what I had marked up. And so I didn't make any decisions. I thought I was going to go long, and then I decided not to. I thought I'd wait till after the open and find direction first. Is that a
Sure.
good?
Sure. Not everybody plays pre-market, but you're trying to get it's like a batter waiting for his turn to hit the ball, and he's trying to time that pitch. He's on the sidelines in the batter's box, getting ready to go and swing, and he's swinging the bat and timing the pitch as the pitcher is, when he's in the on-deck circle and the ball is being thrown. He's trying to just get a feel for the pace and, look at the motion and the rotation of the ball and whatever. And that's what you can do pre-market. You don't have to trade pre-market. I don't think everybody should. So we wanted to look also at the end of the day yesterday. So for now, we know this low hold has held. We've said that was a very strong bar, right? We came down, tested the low, and then held, and we've come out the top. So if you're looking at the 5 RTH, we already know where we've come back to overnight, to like this blue line. And so in terms of a push and then the pullback, and we've been not quite up here to this 92 to 93, that resistance. So this is the RTH high that was really challenged. Okay, and then we've come back here. So right now we're still pretty neutral. Anything goes. And in the afternoon with minutes, they can do anything they want with that. They can move it 25 points in half an hour. So for now, all you're trying to do is get a little powder for the afternoon if you want to trade it. And not everybody does.
Okay, I'm gonna have to throw that into the mix. I just got my RTH chart set up last night and put it in my little choices of screens to use, and it tells a whole different picture. Now we got a big gap.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll leave that alone for now. Let you move on.
All right.
Thank you.
So you're very welcome. So wrapping up this video, one of the things I want to go to is two more charts. This is one of them. Okay, this is a bigger view. We said let's use 72 for support. That's down here, so we want to remember that later. These lows down in here, very important. Remember that 71 and the 69. So we relied on that overnight to say maybe we can push back up here to that 91 area. And now if we're looking at this chart, we can see this 85 and this say 93 area up in here. This was the breakdown. Okay, and this was the breakout this way, and in between is where I expect us to do some trading before anything else. So use this chart for proportion of a little bit larger moves, and that's the monthly. We can see just how good this was. I mean, we hit right here to the tick, really, you know, the 77 and a quarter, 77 and a half. So I like this model right now because it's big enough to show us that recent screamer high and then the pullback. And so this is a 4, 5, 6. And right now all we know is we've got back to the 4. So for now, obviously resistance, support, and range trade in between. And there's a lot of room to do that. Anybody that's playing for the half gap this morning, we're losing 83, 82.75 for the gap. And as such, with the open where it is, if you can get back to 85 to 84, grab it and run. And I think we've got two-way day. And keep an eye right now on a squeeze type trade to catch some overeager shorts too. I don't think this is a one-way swing at the open. I think we're going to get a little jostling back and forth. So if we're using our angels and demons for the open, here is our gap down here. Here is our resistance up here, and we got to use that 88 as the middle, as I said. So if you're up to it, want to play early, you should be thinking about a point or two in a non-directional trade. I don't believe any of these are directional trades right here at the open. I think we're playing open reversal game, probing both sides. And by definition, probably right now, probably 89 to 84 is the range. And just think about this as chop zone. And everybody's mind is still on the short side, probably after yesterday, but I think that this is, it wants to bounce a bit today too. And it'll probably catch both sides. So using 84 for your support, get paid by 89 if you get to 89s, and figure the chop zones in between. And one last look. Predictive model. At 76 down here, supportive before the 72s. I've got this set up as our support box. There's 86. You look at the tails here, by the way, on the 30s. Pushing so far. So I wouldn't get married to the short side. I think it's going to be fairly choppy. This is our fighting box. Clearly, that 91 is our flipper. Remember, we said this is where it wants to get magnetized to. And then this 86 at the bottom. And that was the first rotation I called. Remember in the room when we first started talking this morning early, I said, okay. I said, I think we're talking about 86 and 91 as a small 5-point range. And that was based on looking at this chart. Educated guess. And for those of you who really want an edge in your trade, I think the biggest edge right now is considering 84 support. because I think the migration up here to the 91 target is part of the key, and part of that feeling in my mind is trying to test yesterday's high. If we break out and get above it, I still think we'll come back a bit. So range type trading for now, but don't be too aggressive shorting. I'd be very surprised if we take out 82. No, I'm considering that our important support pivot right now.